Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the celebration of life for Denis Leong. If you have been to the Leong house before, you know that we have a puakene tree which bears sweet-smelling and fragrant flowers. The flowers from the puakene tree were one of Gung's favorite flowers, and we would like to begin our service with Cousin Emma presenting a puakene lei to Gung.
We light these 5 candles in honor of our loved ones. 1 for our grief, 1 for our courage, 1 for our memories, 1 for our love, and 1 for our hope. The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is as intense as our love for you. The second candle represents the courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, and to change our lives. The third candle we light in your memory. The times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry towards each other, the stories you shared, the silly things you did, and the care and joy you gave us. The fourth candle we light for our love. As we share this day of remembrance, we light this candle so that your light may always shine. The fifth candle we light for hope, that you will live on through us, never be erased from our memory, that your life continues to make a difference in the world, that you are proud of us, and that we will be together again. We love you. We remember you.
Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Buddy Leong, and I'm the oldest Leong grandchild. On behalf of the Leong family, we would like to thank you for being here to join us in the celebration of life for Denis. He was a kind, generous, and family-centric man who was always thinking about the well-being of myself and the rest of my family. We appreciate you being here on this Wednesday to celebrate Denis. Now we will begin the service. Now I would like to call up Uncle Rodney Pang for the opening prayer.
Let us pray. O God of grace and glory, we remember before you this day our brother Denis. We thank you for giving to us his family and friends to know and to love as a companion on our earthly pilgrimage. In your boundless compassion, console us who mourn. Give us faith to see in death the gate of eternal life, so that in quiet confidence we may continue our course on earth until, by your call, we are reunited with those who have gone before. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Psalm of David, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in great pastures. He leads me before still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
You are forever
I want to thank Cookie for giving me this opportunity to talk about my good friend Denis. Good morning. I got to know Denis during our early years through the numerous Chinese functions that the families oftentimes gave. And I think you know how families always tried to get the kids together and to find their mates, their future mates. But our friendship really evolved during our college years, starting with our trip across the Pacific via the Leong to San Francisco to go to college, and involving our good friend Mickey Hong. You know, we were, the three of us, the dynamic trio, and our families really bonded throughout the years. We had great times together, and the memories remain vivid to this very day. There's so much to the story of our friendship that I would like that I would do it an injustice to try to describe it in 3 minutes. It's solidified over the years and lasted a lifetime. Our families have bonded like an extended family. The last words I wish I would have said to Denis were, "Denis, I love you like a brother." And thank you for being a wonderful friend. I would like to briefly mention 4 things that I think epitomize Denis. Number 1, he was a true friend to many. He cared about you, he listened, and it told you what you needed to hear and not necessarily what you wanted to hear. He was a true confidant, and he often went to bat for his friends. Number 2, he was a convergent thinker. He was logical, wise, and a problem solver. He was able to bring people together, and he was especially revered at Waialae Country Club, Punahou School, and his law firm. Number 3, he was a storyteller. I mean, you all have experienced him getting up at parties and telling these stories. He knew histories and anecdotes about people, associations, and situations. He was often asked to impart these stories at special events like weddings and birthdays, and he gladly complied. He was fun and informative listening to him. Number 4, he loved his family. Cookie, you indeed were his heart and his soul, and he expressed to me during the times of our teet-a-teet that he was so happy to have you as his life partner. And seeing the loving care that you gave Denis 24/7 over the past few years, I fully understand what he was saying. He also was very proud of his children, and he imparted significant life values to his kids. Denis left me with wonderful memories of his life and a legacy his family and all who knew him will cherish forever. Till we meet again, au revoir. Till peace forever, my friend. We will miss you dearly. Thank you.
Well, good morning, ladies, gentlemen, friends, family of Denis Leong. For those who don't know me, my name is Christine Kubota. Cookie asked that I share a few memories of Denis with all of you this morning. I currently serve as president and director of Damon Key Leong Kupchak Hastert, where Denis spent most of his legal career. Denis served as the president, managing director, boss, leader, mentor, mediator, and peacekeeper of the firm. When Cookie asked me to speak, I thought of what I should share, and like many of you, we have so many stories to share about Denis. She told me, like she told Glenn, 3 minutes. But I have so many things to cover, so pardon me in advance, I'm gonna be like Denis and I'm gonna talk story planning. I served as chair of the Japanese Culture Center of Hawaii 10 years ago. There, I picked up a phrase often shared by Japanese Americans in Hawaii, okage-sama de, which loosely translated means because of you, or I am who I am because of you. As I remembered my personal stories about Denis, this word, okage-sama de, came to mind. Stories I remembered, shared, heard of, or encountered always had an element of, because of you, Denis. Let me explain. At the office, it was thanks to Denis that many of us at Damon Key learned how to be a fair lawyer, how to think and evolve what matters to the client, the cause, and the team. Denis always worried about everyone. He respected hard work, diligence, dedication, and being truthful. He often told the young lawyers to act like lawyers, think like lawyers, and taught us not to be afraid. Okage-sama de. Many of us are who we are as lawyers today. He roamed the office, turned off the lights after 6, said, save energy. He used leftover wood to build his own desk accessories. Be humble, no need buy new things. Never threw away good paper. Don't be wasteful. He kept reusing file covers, binders over and over. I think that was a little bit stingy kind. He stood in line with us for over 30 minutes to eat pho in Chinatown. He wanted to show, he wanted to spend time with us. He always shared why something was right or wrong in super detail. That was to share his knowledge. He was always available to listen and to help our problems. And somehow he knew how to balance power in the office and keep peace. Okage-sama de. I find myself now turning off the lights, using old files over and over, not throwing away paper, and trying to spend time with the young lawyers for lunch and listening to them. What would you do, Denis? Okage-sama de. Now at YLI. Away from the office, Denis taught me how to be a gentleman on the golf course. As former president, director, committee member, and storyteller of YLI Country Club, he reminded me how to behave at the club. Don't talk so loud. Don't scream or cuss on the course, even if you hit fat. Make friends, he said. Exercise, join committees, spend money, smile, and play better golf. Dennis was the best campaign manager ever. As I ran for director at YLI, he called and emailed everyone and supported me. I hardly knew anyone. Dennis knew everyone. Okage-sama de, I won the votes and became the first female director at the club. I heard the old timers say, "Oh, the girl won." So proud and so thankful. Mahalo, Dennis. Dennis collected used golf clubs, bags, balls. He probably had old shoes too. He carried a bag to pick up garbage as he drove and played 18 holes. He loved wildlife and knew the course like it was his own backyard. He shared with my husband Sadao and I which tree got removed, which mound got added, which bunker was good or bad, where the mangoes were, where the plumerias blossomed, which bush would be replaced, why the mongoose came by on the 10th hole, who were picking up the balls on the 14th, and on and on. He knew everything about that course and loved being there. He would deliver good luck red envelopes to all the employees each New Year's, would attend all Francis Brown tournaments when he could. Loved Alan Lum's dedication to the club, Kay Maytos and her professionalism throughout the golf course to share the names of the trees with the members. He knew what the PGA liked or disliked, the wind, the rain, the mound, the trees, etc. He knew the golf rules and made sure we followed them. He spent years amending the bylaws with Yamato bugging him. Worked on renovating the clubhouse, the locker room, the barnyard, the driving range. He appreciated WOW for its beautiful Christmas decorations, Rhonda for knowing everything, loved the staff, loved the lemon meringue pie, and was the best president ever. He was the club historian and took years putting our wildlife book together for all of us to enjoy today. Okage-sama de. Now family. Dennis often talked about the village and how we all survived due to the help of the village. During his many years of illness, his ups and downs, the village came together to support him, love him, care for him, and encourage him. It was Okage-sama de to them that Dennis was able to get better, share more stories, spend time with his family, and travel with Cookie and friends. I thank the village, his brother Alex and Tina, his doctors, Dr. Kay, Dr. Glenn, Dr. Tad, the hospital staff in Seattle, the kids, the grandkids, Chris, Cornelia, the Okinos, the Murshiges, the Pangs, his friends at Wildlife, his Damon Key family, Ray, his secretary for a million years, and many others for giving Dennis the memories, the time, and the courage to keep going. Okage-sama de. Dennis was so proud of his children and grandkids. Evan was the naughty one, but he was steadfast in making sure Dennis was on track for every appointment, new procedure, medication. Dennis was so thankful. His family and children always made sure to keep Cookie and Dennis company. Well, actually, Evan came over to see if there was food. Dennis talked about Darren all the time, about what a super lawyer he was, how he started his own practice, was already famous, blah, 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 blah. He was so proud. And Tisha, I just remember how he perked up when Tisha came to visit. And of course, there's Cookie. When I visited, he kept telling me, "She's my angel, she's my angel." Cookie couldn't hear, so I had to keep reminding her, "Cookie, you're his angel," and she would smile. I would go jewelry shopping with Dennis to find something special for her. She didn't even wear jewelry, but he wanted to give her treasures. He would share everything with her, always taking home leftovers when we had dinner with clients. He relied on her on trips. She was the boss, deciding where to go, what to eat, when to go. He often said, "I just follow her." We went on trips to Florida, California, Vegas, and Japan. I have so many fond memories of driving, golfing, touring, working, walking, snacking, learning, bathing, and shopping together. Remember bathing? Denis, you will be missed. You live in all of our hearts and memories. I will continue to ask, what would you do? So give me a sign. The village is here today. Don't worry about Cookie and the kids. We got them. You work so hard to keep going and to keep them happy. You can rest now and look over us in a different way. We will still look for you. Upage-sama te, that's why. Rest in peace and aloha koe.
And now, we will have Kendra do a hula. Here is a message that she wanted me to share with all of you. Back in December, when I received an email that I was selected as Punahou's May Day Queen, I shared the news with Gunung, and he was so excited for me. He knew that I was working towards this moment for over the years. Leading up to the day, I spoke with him about my journey, and he was so excited for me. We talked about my dress, my hair, my song, everything. Although Gunung was not there physically on the day of my May Day performance, he was present in my heart, my mind, and in spirit. I will be dancing to a special song called Ohai Ali'i Kaluhea. And the Ohai Ali'i is a delicate flower used to make a lei suited for royalty. I dance this song in honor of my Gunung, Denis Leong. Thank you, Gung, for the time we spent together talking story, building a playhouse, and always encouraging me to build relationships. The lesson I'll take with me is do unto others as you want them to do unto you.
Ohayoli Aluhea Sweet lay Hiva hiva mai nalami Elohea oe e kumakamai Lei aloha, lei kulanami. Ohayoli, Aluhea, sweet lei, hiva hiva mai nalani. Elohea oe e kumakamai Lei aloha, lei kulanami Ivila me Lei
friends are the most important thing in life. Gungung instilled this in me and the importance of spending time with those you love. You could often find Gungung sharing stories surrounded by people, whether at home or at Wildlife Country Club. When Gungung got sick, all of us were worried. We didn't know if he would make it, but he pushed through so much. For 9 years, with Nana by his side, he dealt with so many physical and mental issues. This gave us more time to bond with him and grow as a family. Growing up, I remember Gungung in his garden, tending to the trees and plants from Nana's dad to ensure that they thrived just like us. He made sure that we had amazing opportunities and sacrificed a lot to give us a good life. To end, I share a poem that reminds me of Gungung. Our Gungung kept a garden of the heart. He planted all the good things that gave our lives their start. He turned us to the sunshine and encouraged us to dream, fostering and nurturing the seeds of self-esteem. And then the winds and rain came. He protected us enough, but not too much because he knew we would stand up strong and tough. His constant good example always taught us right from wrong, markers for a pathway that will last a lifetime long. We are Gungung's garden, we are his legacy. We will always remember him and what he used to be. We love you, Gungung.
Oh wow, there are a lot of you. Okay. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. As you've heard and will continue to hear, Gungung was a special guy. I realized that a lot of these stories I wrote were just to make fun of it, but we're gonna do it. So the first one. My grandfather, he loved to pick weeds. Some people may say that, it's a useless task because weeds grow back, but he didn't. So he would go into the yard with his hat, his stool, and his bucket, and he would go there and he'd pick weeds for hours on end. And if you look across the street, there was our other neighbor who was doing the same thing, probably hiding from his wife. And so when we were younger, me and my brother, we had this genius idea that we were going to get our water guns and shoot him while he was working hard to make sure that the yard was clear. Ooh, man. And so he would be out there working hard, and we'd be over there, and we'd shoot him. And it's pretty funny. I would say he didn't get angry, but we didn't stick around to find out, so. And then one day, we came home from school and he stood outside of our car with this giant super soaker water gun that he had gotten from Walmart, and he sprayed us. And from then on, we had these water gun wars, and I'm just grateful for moments like that because those are the days that I'll always remember. This next one has nothing to do with him or his character, just wanted to tell it. When my grandfather's health started to decline, we had a whole bunch of caregivers come to assist around the house because it's going to be very hard as he wasn't able to move. So for instance, if he were to stand up, he would tip over because his balance wasn't so good, so they had to give him a walker. And so we had this new caregiver who came from New Orleans. It was this pretty big woman that was able to hopefully hold him up if needed. And so she came over to the house and we met with her, and everything was great because here's someone else to help do dishes and laundry and things like that. And even better yet, she knew stretches and exercises that could hopefully get him back into shape. And so we go over there, we meet her, and then I go back to my house and go sit on my couch because, he's with the caregiver, he should be safe. And then about 10 minutes later, my sister Eliana comes running back and she goes, Coco, you should go check on Gung. And I'm like, what's going on? He's with the caregiver, he should be okay. And so I go out of my house and I see this woman running to her car, full blast, and I swear I've never seen anyone leave our house so quick. She got in her car, she got out of there, and when I got into Nana Gung's house, Gung was on the ground yelling, "You're fired." So there it was, and I guess what happened was the lady decided that she was going to do these exercises where he would stand up and she would take away the only thing that was keeping him up, but yeah, I guess I had nothing to do, but this was a fun memory for me. I guess, yeah, so Gung taught me how to have fun. Second thing Gung taught me was to treat others the way you want to be treated. He said it to me too many times throughout my life, and looking now, I wish I got to hear him to say it one more time. Because as I look around today, surrounded by friends and family, I realized that he really lived that. He was a good human being. And whenever I'd have issues at school or whatever, he'd always just tell me, be a kind human being, treat others the way you want to be treated. And he modeled that. The most important thing my grandfather ever taught me was to be grateful for the big moments in life and the little ones too. And to appreciate each and every person, as one day you never know what's going to happen. My grandfather enjoyed, this is another one of the stories. My grandfather enjoyed a lot of things throughout his life. Golfing, being on different committees at YLI, and hanging out with friends. But you may not know that he enjoyed heckling me while I played basketball during COVID. Because I'd be out there in the driveway with our adjustable hoop, and I'd adjust it to like 7 or 8 feet because I'm 5'4", which is super tall. So I'd be out there and I'd be practicing my shot. And I would, somehow go for a dunk too. And I'd be out there and I would hear the caregiver get him down the stairs and then wheel him out. And every single time I would shoot and I'd miss, he would let me know, but tell me miss. And then when I would go for the dunk on a 7-foot rim and miss, he would say, "How are you getting blocked by the rim?" He was one with many compliments. Before my grandfather died, I asked him, what are the things that you value and are the most grateful for? He said second was his education, the opportunity to go to a school where he could foster friendships for a lifetime and learn things that he wouldn't anywhere else, and also happened to have the best football team in the state. But he said number one was all of you, his friends and family. And if you were here today, I know he'd want to say to his friends, thank you so much for all of the good times, for all the good memories, for all the laughs. And to his family, thank you so much for always being there for each other no matter what. But the person he was most grateful for was Nana. Because I don't think I've ever seen a span of time where someone took that good care of someone for such a prolonged period of time without asking for anything in return, ever, no complaints, Nothing. He would say, thank you so much for the life that you shared, for all the good memories, for all the love. Wouldn't want today to be a day of sadness. But he wanted it to be a day where we celebrate him and where we remember him and where we show appreciation for him. Gungun, thank you so much for all the times that we shared, for the days in the sun, the dinners, the heckling, the stories, and the fun times. You may be gone, but our memories will never be forgotten. Thank you for being you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for taking care of me. Setting an example of what a good man is. I hope you're happy in heaven with the rest of the family. I love you. And I'll see you one day. Rest in peace. I love you. Thank you for everything.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, and everyone in between. I'm Beckett Wren. I am the son of John and Tisha Wren, and I am the second eldest Leong grandchild. We gather here today to celebrate the remarkable life of Denis Leong, my gungan, and a person whose presence touched each of us in unique and profound ways. As we come together to honor his memory, I hope that we can all find the time to embrace the joy and gratitude that highlight this time among us. When I began writing this speech, I feared that I would not be able to properly convey the emotions and gratitude that I feel. But as I've written and rewritten this eulogy many times, I've realized that today is much less about me reciting something that is perfect and polished, but more about all of us sharing our cherished memories and stories of gungan with friends, loved ones, and those we have yet to be blessed to meet. And that is why I stand before you here today. For those who don't know me, I'm an avid golfer, and that is due almost entirely to gungan. The short backstory is that over the pandemic, I was doing distance learning in Hawaii, and during that time, gungan organized a couple of golf lessons for me at Waialae Country Club. It was a gift to me. I learned the grip, the takeaway, the follow through, and the etiquette. In essence, I learned the fundamentals of golf. And when I eventually left Hawaii, I thanked him for his generous gift. However, what I failed to realize was that the gift he gave me was far greater than just a couple of lessons. It was a lifelong passion and a medium through which I would develop and prosper. As my whack turned into a far more elegant swing, and I started to turn in scorecards that were no longer in the triple digits, I began to treasure golf for how it connected me with people, especially with gungan. As you all know, golf was intertwined with gungan's DNA, and to him, it was more than just a game. As I got more invested in golf, Gungan and I began bonding over our shared passion. Whether it was about my swing or about my scorecards, he was the guy I would talk to about golf. And in many ways, I could see a sparkle in his eyes light up when I talked with him, because he was excited that someone had adopted the passion for golf that he had. However, as time progressed, and as Gungan slowly lost much of his memory and cognitive ability, our conversations would become much more straightforward and riddled with pauses and repeated statements. Yet each time we talked, he would ask me in his soft, deep voice, "How's the golf game?" I would respond slowly with how I might slice the ball 50 yards one day, then hit it 250 dead center the next. But over time, I came to realize that he didn't care if I missed the short putts or chunked my irons. He cared that I was playing the game he loved, that I was playing golf. I'm lucky and grateful to be able to say that I was able to thank him for all that he has done only weeks before his passing. I was able to thank him for his years of dedication, for his years of love, for his years of investment, and of course, for his efforts to share his passions with others and with me. After all, Gungan gave me more than just the gift of golf. He gave me the gift of friendship, of competition, of character, and of life. Golf is the game of life, and it is a game that lasts a lifetime. In every way, I am certain that Gungun knew that golf would change me, and he was absolutely right. Today, I honor him for how he shared his love for the game with me, but his sacrifice and investment for me is far greater than what I give him credit for today, and what I could ever give him credit for. Although my time speaking to you is an undoubtedly small gesture, I see it as the most proper opportunity that I will ever have to thank him for what he has done for me. As I bring this to a close, I implore you all to take a second to pause and to remember Gungun for the memories and joy that he has brought us all, and how that has defined and redefined your relationships and lives. We gathered here today for him, and I hope that we can all find comfort in the collective love and the shared appreciation that each of us holds. After all, we are here not alone in our grief, but brought together to honor the legacy and spirit of a truly incredible man. Thank you.
First off, I want to thank Christine Kubota for being a great friend to my father and taking the pressure off of me for going long today. This morning I had a different intro, but my cousin Lindsay Hong texted me this morning and she said, "I'm sorry I couldn't be there, and you know your father's going to be there, so don't roast him too much." And I said, "I'm sure on that, and you know guaranteed I'm going to do it." And she said, "Okay then, go big or go home." Let's see how this goes. I have 3 stories today and 1 message, so you know where we are in it and you can tell what I'm going to be finishing. The first one is that my first story goes with my father's highest value. I asked him, what's your number 1 value? And he always would tell me, it's loyalty, right? His friends, his family, that was something that he had for his friends and family. That was something that his friends and family had for him. That was a non-negotiable. My dad was loyal. He would go through a brick wall with his head for you if that's what it took. And that's how it was. So what this reminded me of was when I was younger and we were sitting in the kitchen and we're eating. And my sister, I was probably maybe 10, I think my brother was about 5. And along the side, we saw something out of the corner of our eye, like, oh, what's going on? Someone came into the back door, and we didn't know who it was. It looked like the Chinese version of Rocky Aoki from Benihana. Had the Japanese perm. My brother instantly started to cry. He was scared. He knew, who is this? It was my father. Who then I proceeded to laugh for like days. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. It was so funny. And he went upstairs and he never came back down. I don't know how long it took. Maybe it could have been days. I don't know. But it was a long time. And when I finally asked him, like, Dad, when I couldn't, it's like, what's going on with this perm? You know, he said, you know, my hairdresser, who I've gone to a long time, she wanted to practice this Japanese perm and nobody would let her do it. So she asked me, and I'm a good friend. And so that's my story of loyalty. I mean, the guy would look ridiculous for a long period of time because, you know, it was a long period of time you have to walk around like that. So every time I walk by a Benihana and I see the guy Rocky Aoki over there, I just think of my dad, and he's with us. Second story. My dad was methodical, calculated, and he was also extremely creative. So on the slideshows, I don't know if you see through the 10,000 pictures, but there are some photos of a wooden gnome, a canoe, a castle that's made out of styrofoam. It has a moat and used to have like fish and so on. These are the things that my dad would do for us when we have school projects, right? So, I mean, I would tell him like, Dad, I got a school project. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. And he'd be like, what? And then I'm not gonna help you. And then next thing you know, in the morning, a beautiful castle made out of styrofoam, painted in multicolors with a moat that goes up and down. Fresh fish in the moat. And I took it into my second grade class, and I probably showed my work, and everybody was very impressed. Right? But this brought me down to, as we progressed, because my father would do, like my son said, really boring, methodical stuff that's like, why are you doing that? Seriously. There was one point where there's thousands of red bricks at our house, or the house that I'm allowed to live in. Then, and it's like 80 years or 100 years old, these bricks, right? And there was a period, that seemed like almost a year, where he sat out there, one by one, with like a hammer and a screwdriver, and picked out every single red brick, cleaned off all the dirt, cleaned off all the weeds, cleaned everything up, put it right back, and did the whole entire thing. And I was like, dude, seriously, first off, I would hide, because I'm like, I ain't helping this, no way, no way. But he answered me, it was kind of interesting. He said, one, this driveway has taken care of us for so many years. I feel like I'm going to take care of it. And what he did was he took each of those bricks and he treated it as an individual, as something special, as something unique. And that's the exact same way he viewed all of his friends and his family. If you really think about it, and you think about my father and your relationship, the reason that most of us are here is because that's what he imparted to us. Each one of us was unique and special, and he would pick us each up individually and help dust us off and help us take off the weeds and treat us with kindness and respect. That's if you're the brick. Because if you're the weed, we're not going there today. We're keeping positive. Story 3. The Leong side, as you can tell, like from my son, we have a different way of showing I love you and expressing our feelings like that, right? And my father would always say, like, you know, I'm not expecting me to tell you I love you and all that kind of like mushy stuff, because I'm not going to do it. But when you need me, I'm going to be there. And I think that was passed on from his mother, who, you know, she would show her love in a similar way. I would show up and she would say, you know, oh, what's wrong with your face? Or, you're getting fat. And I would say, okay, thank you, Popo. Merry Christmas to you too. So, my dad was pretty similar, as my son said. His way of like motivating us was to like cut us down. So he said, okay, I'm gonna bet you $100 you cannot make this football team, and then $100 that you cannot start. And like, and all I could think about was $100, right? Because of okay. So the one year I actually did that, I tried to collect from him, and my uncle told me, no, you cannot. But it's this kind of unique sense of humor that we have for one another, and it's like insults to an extent are like kind of funny. Like if someone else did it, then you know it's probably not gonna go well for them. But like between us, it was funny. So when my dad, about a year before, maybe 6 months, he couldn't really move, right? He couldn't move too good anymore. So we're like, oh, we need to get this guy a scooter or something, like mechanical, so it's kind of heavy too, right? So we can move him around. So we went to Douderman's. It's a store for like wheelchairs and so on. And we wheeled him in. My brother was there, my brother Darren, and then wheeled him in. So the guy said, how can I help you? I said, okay, we're looking for a kind of scooter and so on. And the guy said, okay, yeah. I said, oh, by the way, wait, hold on. He said, okay, we gotta go somewhere just real quick and we can leave him here. And the guy goes, oh, okay, yeah. He goes, how long? I said, I don't know, maybe like 2-3 days. And I just like totally serious. And the guy was like, what? And my dad's response was, oh, these guys, they're all just clowns. They're just clowns. My kids, they're clowns. My family, they're clowns. You know, so that was his whole thing. You know, we're all clowns, right? So what it brought me to was at the end, my dad stopped eating. He stopped drinking. And we knew we were counting like the days down. And we were sitting, we were there for like as much as we could. It seemed, it would be hours and hours a day just waiting on that last kind of bit. A lot of people in this room know how that is. So on the very last day, from early in the morning to probably around 12 or noon, it was that gurgle and that last bit. You're like, oh, is this it? Oh no, it's not. And it's like this emotionally like too much. So it's like too much. It was too much for me. It's too much. So I went downstairs and I gotta get a break. This is too much. And then literally like 20 minutes, my sister texts and says, come up now. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? For how many years and how many hours and so on? I just missed it? This is messed up. So I was feeling super guilty, right? Because I missed it and it's not. So I get up there and my dad is in the bed. There was one or two people in front kind of saying their last goodbyes. It was super, super somber. My mother was on one side. My sister, Coco, was behind me in a chair. And just as I get down there to kind of say my last goodbye to my father, he goes, freaking Coco almost jumped out the window. Everybody's shocked. My mom's like, is he still alive? And that was actually the last breath. But once I could process it, I know exactly what just happened. Because my dad always wants the last laugh. And he's a unique sense of humor. So he did that, knowing full well that he would get the last bit of this. And on his way out, I could just hear him saying, see you later, clowns. So now for the message. This is the hardest piece for me. My father would always say, I'm not going to tell you I'm proud of you, I love you, the mushy stuff. That's why Uncle Glenn and Auntie Christine, they had to kind of semi-deliver that message for us, right? Because that wasn't his deal. He was not going to tell you directly, but he would do it via proxy, right? He would tell others, but not necessarily himself. So for those of you in the room that knew you felt a special something with my father, it was there. Whether he said it, I don't know, right? But at the end, my father was first going back and forth between the other side and here. And as he was doing that, I think his sense of reality was changing. He would start to say things like love and stop and come in and out and so on. But what he asked me to do, because he didn't do it himself, was to deliver this message today, verbatim, to my mother. This is a message from my father, who delegated it to me to do right now. So I'm going to invite anyone who wants to feel my father's spirit as I read through this. And for my mother to truly listen to what he has to say, because this is what he meant. This is cooking. Though we will soon be apart, I know that we met long before we were in DC. I know we'll be together once again. I take great comfort being able to fill myself with the love that comes directly from your heart and is shown in your actions. I know that no matter what I tell you about what's going on in your life, you're not going to listen to me until you're ready. I just want you to know that whatever you do and whoever you are is more than enough for me. I've loved you since the moment I met you, the moment I saw you over all the years, and up to the end, Cookie. I love you now. I'm sorry that I was not able to tell you thank you more often. My mother would tell me, you got lucky. She was right. As you know, compliments were not my mother's strong point, but she always had compliments for you. I'm sorry I cannot be with you in my strong, healthy form any longer. I'm sorry I was not there for you longer. I want you to know that even though
your parents trained you to believe that children are meant to be seen and not heard. They were wrong. I love you. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. Cookie. Thank you. Thank you.
I wore this untucked aloha shirt in honor of my father today. As a lot of you of his generation know, that in the law firm office, that's how you guys wore the shirt. And then, you know, we would tuck ours in, because if I showed up at the office, I would get strange looks if it was untucked. And so my father used to say when I was coming up as a lawyer of sort of the next generation, he used to say, "Oh, your generation, so lazy." And I was like, "Bro, you guys can't even tuck your shirt in." He was always there. And in the last week, I've had a lot of memories. Like, he would come to every Little League game, unfailing, no matter when it was, basketball game or whatever, and he was always there. We'd have the same pattern over and over. Play the game, get in the car, then he would have constructive criticism. And because so accepting of his feedback, then we start yelling at each other. And he said, "I'm never coming again." But he was at the next game, and the next game, and the next game after that. And that was a theme as I kind of think back and hear Becky talk about golf, and we would just always take the time to spend, whether it was Saturdays, softball, and I would go down with him at the park, or whether it was playing sports with the three of us. My brother said it was, I think, 5 years, but my sister is 8 years older, my brother is 4.5 years older. So the teams would be my dad, myself, against my brother, my sister, except my dad made the rules. So he would make rules like, you cannot guard Darren, and ensured victory. I remember coming home in high school one night when I had a very rough night. I came home later than I was supposed to, and I walked inside, and the light was on, the staircase light, and so I turned it off, and then I flipped back on, and then it went off again, and then flipped back on, and then all of a sudden I hear at the top of the stairs, There's a lyric in this song that reminds me of that, and as Curtis knows, when we all started playing, well, Curtis sounded like he sounds now, which is good, but me and some of our other friends did not sound like that, and I think that's the best adjective, was unlistenable. And he came to every gig, whether it was good or bad or what have you. So try to get through this. It might get unlistenable at some points, but hope you like it. Oh, before they turn out gone. I tell you good night, close the door. Tell you I love you once more. Time is gone. Here it is. I'm not your son. You're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes, and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So Daddy, would you just close your eyes? Oh, I'll read a story to you. The only difference is this one is true. Time is gone. I folded your clothes on the chair. I hope you sleep well, don't be scared. The time is gone. Here it is. I'm not your son. You're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So Daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid. It's my turn to chase the monsters. Sleep a lifetime. Yes, and breathe the last word. You can feel my hand on your own. I will be the last one, so I'll leave the light on. No darkness in your heart. I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes, but you know mine. While you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So Daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid, it's my turn to chase the monsters away.
On behalf of the Leong family, we would like to thank you for joining us today to celebrate the full and impactful life of Denis Leong. We would like to invite you to join us at Wildlife Country Club for lunch following this service. For your convenience, all vehicles will be handled with a prepaid valet service. And thank you again for joining us today.